Hi, I'm Allen Henderson, a broker at Henderson Real Estate. Welcome to the Ahwatukee History Project. Today, Marty's going to interview Joe Garner. Joe's the grandson of Arthur and Molly Hunter. In 1909, Arthur Hunter homesteaded the land in the open desert at what would become 48th Street and Thistle Landing. It was the start of what became Hunter Ranch. The ranch grew and became an integral part of the Kyrene Farming Community. Joe grew up on the Hunter Ranch. Hunter Ranch was located on a dirt road known as Hunter Drive, which is now known as 48th Street. Joe loved the ranch and refers to it as his wonderland and his playground. Let's listen in as Joe tells us about the unexpected arrival of Interstate 10 and its impact on his grandmother and the Kyrene Farming Community.
I'm going to change subjects a little bit. Interstate 10 wasn't always there.
No.
In fact, when you were a kid, it wasn't there, right?
No.
Can you tell us, set the scene a little bit for us about what it was like when they started building 10?
We could not understand why they would put a big road right down through there. It was not, because we had to cross that to get to Tempe, because that's where all the business was transacted, the bank, the cattle sales and all that were, and this people were building this road. And there was big machinery, earth movers, ukes, hauling dirt. And, of course, the police were there to protect the drivers from driving, because there was no stop signs, and stuff.
But there weren't a lot of cars in the first place, right?
There was not a lot of cars, no. And one day, my grandmother says, well, you have to go with me to the bank. We got to deposit the check, the cattle sales check. So she's driving. We had a 58 Ford Fairlane, 3 on the column. Well, Grandma was not a good driver. She was very, very dangerous. And she shifted. She pulled it into first and took off. And then she was shifting to second, and that was it. She never went to third.
Oof.
And she put it on the floor.
Jeez.
And just, wow, the engine was roaring and we wasn't going anywhere fast. And we came up, we went to the end of 48th Street at Warner, turned right, and here's the overpass. And here's the road around the overpass, and there's the deputy sheriff sitting there monitoring the truck and the traffic.
This is during freeway construction.
Freeway construction. And these big earth movers are running down through it, and she went straight across. And I'm like, Grandma, you got to stop. And she went straight across, went down. We were coming up on Priest Drive and Warner, and the lights came on. Here's the sheriff behind us. And he's got his flashing lights, and he's got his siren running. And she does not stop at Priest and Warner. She just turns the corner and keeps right on going. She didn't believe in stop signs, and she didn't believe that there was a stop sign there because there's never been a stop sign there.
Okay.
So I was yelling at her. I said, Grandma, you got to stop. You got to stop. And she goes, I am on the way to the bank. There's no reason for me to stop. And I said, well, there's a sheriff on your back, and he's going to arrest us, and we're going to go to jail. And so she says, oh, okay. So she stopped. And this young sheriff walked up to the car and said, what are you doing, lady? She goes, I'm on my way to the bank. Why are you stopping me? She says, because you run a stop sign. She goes, there was no stop signs. Yes, she was, and I'm here to protect you, and she says, I'm on my way to the bank. Goodbye. And took off. And this poor kid, and he was a young sheriff, and he was just standing there looking at her like, what the heck did she just do? And off we went, and I was scared stiff because I said, I'm going to jail. And she's going to go to jail. Now, how am I going to explain this to Grandpa? And we went to the bank and came back, and she was furious. And she told my grandfather that she was pinched by this sheriff. And pinched in that lingo, time, that meant you were stopped.
Right.
And Mr. Hunter got very indignant, like, he swelled up like, who pinched you, and he would, but when I told him what happened, he said, Mother, you got to stop and stuff like that. But she was not having any part of this stopping stuff.
We talked about the freeway being constructed, but do you remember when it opened? Was there a grand opening type of thing? Did it change anyone's lives?
Well, in 1965 or 6, the freeway ended at 40th Street.
I-10.
And then they put the section between 40th Street and Chandler Boulevard in 67. And then they went on from there down there. But after that, it was like, where is this thing going? You know, and who would, where's this coming from? You know, because we had no idea of the topographical knowledge of the system itself. You know, where it was going. But it was such a the grandparents called it an eyesore. Because why is all this activity around my house? You know?
Strip of concrete.
Yes, yeah.
And of course, that 40th Street to Chandler Boulevard stretch is where we now fondly call the Broadway curve.
Yes, yes. And it was a massive undertaking as far as construction. You know, it took forever, we thought, and all this equipment and all the noise and all the dust and stuff, you know. Even farm dust is one thing. But construction dust is totally different because it's not ours.
There you go. Okay. I wasn't in the future Ahwatukee then, but I've been told that there was a period of time, 18 months, 2 years, where after the physical freeway was constructed, it wasn't quite opened yet.
No.
So you had another potential proving ground type of situation.
Yeah, but as opposed to the proving grounds where we had access, we did not have the same access on the freeway because it was too heavily guarded.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they had the police had a presence there and the contractors had their own private security people watching their equipment and stuff. So we didn't have the same freedoms.
Right. Okay.
If you enjoyed the video and want to see future episodes of the Ahwatukee History Project, be sure to give us a like and click the subscribe button. Questions and comments are always welcome.